Think you know who's stronger between Dr. Manhattan and Franklin Richards? The blue-skinned god versus the reality warping kid. Today we're diving into their universe-shaping powers, reality warping feats, and cosmic dominance to finally decide who would win, and why one of them might just erase the other out of existence. So let's get to it. Franklin Richards, the son of Reed and Sue Richards, born with reality warping powers that make even the strongest Marvel characters look like they're stuck on the loading screen. And the craziest part, he only got more powerful as he grew. Whether we're talking about Kid Franklin, Adult Franklin, or Future Franklin, the version that literally outlives the universe, hangs out Galactus like their old roommates, no matter the version, Franklin Richards is absolutely one of the most powerful characters in all of Marvel Comics. But describing Franklin's power is tricky because his story isn't linear. It's not like he got stronger over time and that's that. No, sometimes his adult self goes back in time to teach his younger self how to properly use his powers. You've got little Franklin just learning how to create universes. Adult Franklin mastering the rules of reality, and then versions of him so insanely strong they're considered constants in the multiverse. It's weird, it's wild, but stick with me. At first, Franklin's powers seemed pretty tame. As a little kid, he had some light telepathy and clairvoyance. He could read thoughts, sense danger, maybe see into the future a bit. Cool, but nothing too crazy, right? But then everything changed when he got exposed to cosmic radiation during one of Annihilus's schemes. That's when the dam broke and his dormant potential came rushing to the surface. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic himself, said that for Franklin, stars and galaxies are nothing more than playthings. That's right, entire galaxies are just toys to this kid. And Franklin started casually shaping reality with just his imagination. His thoughts became real, his dreams manifested in front of him. And he didn't just reshape things around him. He beat Mephisto in Mephisto's own realm. If you know Marvel, you know how insane that is. Mephisto is way more powerful inside his own dimension. He once went toe-to-toe with Galactus there. But Franklin overpowered him. Effortlessly. As a kid. He didn't just beat the devil, he did it on the devil's home turf. And then you got the reality warping stuff. Franklin's power is so ridiculous that he accidentally created an entire pocket universe just to save Earth's heroes from the villain onslaught. Just casually built a whole new universe. No big deal. And then he did it again and again, creating more universes just for fun, for playtime. Because remember, he's still a kid at this point. Within those universes, Franklin is basically omnipotent. He can create, destroy, manipulate, rewrite. He is the god of his own universal sandbox. When you realize that, you start to understand why beings like eternity, infinity, and the rest of the cosmic order start to see Franklin as a serious threat. The Celestials, some of the most powerful beings in the Marvel cosmos, recognized him as their equal. Not a Celestial, not one powerhouse, it was said it was the entire Celestial race. That's how Franklin is viewed, on their level. And as wild as that sounds, he proved it. As a kid, Franklin stood toe-to-toe with multiple Celestials, survived their attacks, manipulated their energy, and even telepathically overwhelmed them. All of that? Yeah, he was still in elementary school. And then we get to adult Franklin Richards, a version of Franklin who not only has more raw power, but also knows how to control it. For example, Franklin became so powerful that he had to go back in time and mentor himself in the past to prevent universal accidents. And then comes one of his wildest feats of all. He resurrected Galactus. Let that sink in. Galactus, the devourer of worlds, a fundamental force of the Marvel Universe, dead. Franklin brought him back and made him his herald. You heard that right. Galactus became Franklin's sidekick. And the two of them, they started wrecking Celestials like it was just another Tuesday. Franklin was able to straight up destroy Celestials in battle. Not damage, not knockback, destroy them. That's like dunking on the gods of the Marvel Universe. And it doesn't just stop there, because after the multiverse shattering events of Secret Wars, Franklin teamed up with Molecule Man, another insanely powerful reality warping character, to rebuild the entire Marvel multiverse. Franklin created the universe, Molecule Man stabilized them, together they reshaped Marvel's reality. And later on, when Franklin reflects on it all, he casually admits, yeah, I've created multiverses before. And the kicker? He hadn't even pushed himself yet. He hadn't let his imagination truly run wild, which is terrifying. Because Franklin Richards isn't just a mutant, he isn't just the son of the Fantastic Four, he's a walking creation engine, a reality sculptor, a childlike god whose imagination literally shapes existence. He's one of the most powerful heroes in Marvel history, and one of the most powerful cosmic beings ever written in comics. There are very few characters who can go toe-to-toe with Franklin Richards at full potential. So, whether it's Franklin as a kid making new universes like he's building Lego sets, or Franklin as an adult casually rewriting reality and putting Galactus on a leash, one thing's for sure: if you see Franklin Richards show up, the entire multiverse better hold its breath. John Osterman didn't start off as a god. He was just a normal, soft-spoken nuclear physicist, your classic lab coat type. But as comic book fate would have it, he found himself in the middle of a freak accident during a radioactive particle test. Of course he did, because in the world of comics, particle accelerators and radiation chambers are just adult jungle gyms. Now, normally something like that turns you into a superpowered spider guy or a big brain rage monster. But John got vaporized, as in fully disintegrated. And then he came back. But not just back, not human, not even remotely. He reassembled himself on a quantum level and emerged as something the world had never seen, a being of pure energy, existing outside the normal rules of time and space. That's how Dr. Manhattan was born, a living god. In the Watchmen universe, he's easily the most powerful being in existence. He can manipulate matter and energy with a thought, phase through solid objects, regenerate his body from nothing, and casually teleport anywhere in the universe, because walking is just too inefficient. He can make clones of himself, build palaces on Mars, turn air into glass, rearrange atoms like Lego bricks, and even bring the dead back to life. And we're just getting started. He doesn't just see time, he exists in all of it. To Dr. Manhattan, time isn't a line, it's a photograph. He experiences every moment of his life simultaneously. He knows what he's already done, what he's going to do, and what he'll never do. Imagine always being everywhere you've ever been and will ever be at the exact same moment. That's his reality. He's not guessing the future, he's living in it right now, along with the past. That means he's always the smartest guy in the room, because he's already had the conversation. But here's the twist. What really separates Dr. Manhattan from everyone else, what actually makes him terrifying, is his total emotional detachment. He doesn't feel love, he doesn't feel hate, he doesn't get angry, he doesn't get anything. He observes, he calculates, he acts. And that cold, godlike perspective means he can make decisions no other hero or villain could stomach. Sometimes that makes him powerful, sometimes that makes him dangerous, and sometimes it makes him the villain. Remember how Dr. Manhattan sees all time at once? How he exists in every moment simultaneously and can observe, manipulate timelines like strings of spaghetti? Well, that means that he can rewrite history. Literally, he can alter past events, shift the future, or change entire timelines from the outside in. He could save Krypton, prevent every superhero origin story, erase any villain, and rewire your whole life if he felt like it. This is where he stops being just a Watchmen character and becomes a DC game changer. Because Manhattan didn't just stay in his own universe. He reached into the main DC timeline and changed it. Let's talk Flashpoint. Barry Allen, the Flash, goes back in time to stop his mother from being murdered. Sounds noble, right? But that single act fractures the timeline. Suddenly, the world is unrecognizable. Thomas Wayne is Batman, not Bruce. Superman was locked in a government lab as a kid. Wonder Woman and Aquaman are at war, and the entire world is caught in the crossfire. It's total chaos. Barry tries to fix it. But here's the twist. He didn't actually cause it. That was Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan secretly interfered with the timeline, removing a full decade from the DC Universe's history. He erased relationships, rewrote backstories, deleted legacy heroes, and from that came the New 52. It was DC's massive continuity reboot, and Manhattan used it as his personal science experiment. He manipulated time itself just to watch what would happen, like a god peeking into an ant farm. But of course, even ant farms eventually crack. When things began to unravel, we got Doomsday Clock, the story where all this comes to light. Set in the aftermath of DC Rebirth, the event that began restoring the original continuity, Doomsday Clock reveals the truth. Dr. Manhattan was behind everything. The missing time, the fractured past, the erased characters. He was the one pulling the strings, watching, observing, and tinkering from afar. He didn't just mess with the timeline, he broke it. Naturally, the heroes aren't thrilled, so what do? They confront him. What does he do? Well, he wipes out half the Justice League with a flick of his hand. Green Lanterns try and fight him, he disarms them effortlessly. Magic users, doesn't work. To him, magic is just another pattern of subatomic probabilities. Superman, he's powerful, but even he's no match for Manhattan's omniscience and cosmic power. They all lose, because they were never going to win. You can't outfight someone who already knows how the battle ends. But in a surprising twist, Manhattan ends the story, not with a show of force, but with a change of heart. He sees the consequences of his manipulation, the damage he's done to the people and the world, and he chooses to let go. He restores the lost time, he gives back the histories of the characters, and he resets the DC universe, this time choosing not to interfere. He even destroys the DC metaverse, a unique universe tethered to the main continuity, and allows a new one to begin, this time without his influence. Then he leaves the DC timeline altogether. But of course, this is comics. That wasn't the end, because somewhere out in the dark multiverse, someone else found Manhattan's power. Enter Dark Knight's death metal, a metal as hell event filled with twisted nightmare versions of Batman from alternate universes. And leading the charge, the Batman Who Laughs, a Joker-infected Batman with no morality and endless contingency plans. Well, it turns out that one of those contingency plans involved Dr. Manhattan. See, in another part of the multiverse, a Bruce Wayne had discovered the comedian's button and started experimenting with an intrinsic field generator of his own. The Batman Who Laughs, well, he locked that Bruce in the machine and turned him into a Manhattan-level being, just like John Osterman. But before that Bruce could fully ascend, the Batman Who Laughs lobotomized him and kept his body in storage. Later, with help from some twisted Alfreds and multiversal surgery, he implants his own brain into that omnipotent Bruce's body. The result? The Darkest Knight, a fusion of Batman's sadistic mind and Manhattan's god-tier power. And he's strong enough to challenge Perpetua, the literal mother of the multiverse. She created the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor, and the World Forger. She shaped existence itself, and this Manhattan-powered Batman beats her. That's how broken this level of power is. Eventually, it takes Wonder Woman, now upgraded with Manhattan's crisis energy herself, to stop the Darkest Knight. Their battle spans across time, space, and multiversal history, ending with her ultimate sacrifice to reboot the universe yet again. And what all this tells us is simple. Dr. Manhattan isn't just powerful, he's foundational. His power bends the rules of reality so hard they snap. Even a corrupted version of him is enough to beat the creator of all existence. So imagine what the original can do, if he really wanted to. If DC Comics is a house of cards, Dr. Manhattan is the kid with a leaf blower. He's not just strong, he's not just smart, he's the cheat code the writers use when they want to break everything and then rebuild it from scratch. A walking reset button and glowing blue skin. Whether he's rewriting time, ending universes, or just floating naked on Mars thinking about life, one thing's clear. Dr. Manhattan isn't just a god in the DC universe. He's the reason it exists the way it does at all. So, who wins? Well, let's break it down. Now, both of these guys, they're universal at the very, very least. As in, they can literally create universes. In fact, they've both created a whole bunch of them, to the point where it can be said that both have straight up created multiverses before. Of course, how they went about this is a little bit different. Like, Franklin appears to be able to create fully functioning universes in an instant, and inside those universes, he creates everything. But then he needed Molecule Man to tether all these universes together into one singular multiverse. On the other hand, Dr. Manhattan is a universal constant, meaning a single him exists across all realities at once. And because of that, he's able to steer and manipulate events happening in universe in ways that allow them to branch off and become entirely new realities. Like that one moment where he moved a Green Lantern ring just a few inches to the left, and that change alone kickstarted a whole new universe. But then regardless of how he made them, Dr. Manhattan was able to affect all of these universes at once, as he erased them all and then brought it together to restart everything from scratch. The only thing Manhattan couldn't fully control? Superman, because Superman functions as a sort of universal anchor. Every timeline, every Earth, every reality has to have its Superman. Anyway, both Franklin and Manhattan are confusing characters, but both are, at minimum, operating on a multiverse creating scale. But there are a few things that tip the scale in Dr. Manhattan's favor. Now, Franklin definitely has some crazy feats, his biggest combat showing destroying Celestials. And you can scale Celestials pretty high. They've been treated as multiversal and even abstract level beings in some stories. At the very least, they're far above Skyfathers like Odin, Zeus, and others. So if Franklin is going blow for blow with the best of the Celestials, that's very impressive. But then here's the problem. Celestials are also sometimes treated like jokes. Sentry one-shots them. Hulk overpowers them. Thor sends them packing. So while Franklin destroying Celestials is a flex, it's not a consistently high tier one. Then there's the fact that Franklin is more powerful than Galactus, and even considers himself to be a universal constant alongside of him, the utmost creator versus the ultimate destroyer. Franklin is destined to outlive the current universe and see the creation of the next one. So yeah, he is absurdly powerful. However, Dr. Manhattan, he's so powerful that even Mr. Mxyzptlk is scared of him. Yes, Mr. Mix, the fifth dimensional imp who treats the entire DC universe like a game, who can rewrite, unwrite, or destroy universes at will, he's afraid of Dr. Manhattan, which is insane, because Mr. Mix can do basically everything Franklin Richards can, and more, and he sees Manhattan as a threat. That alone paints a pretty clear picture of just how high Manhattan sits on the cosmic ladder. And then you have the Batman who laughs. When he stole Dr. Manhattan's powers and became the Darkest Knight, he fought Perpetua, one of the hands of the greater Omniverse, a being who literally created the original DC multiverse, the mother of the Monitor, the Anti-Monitor, and the World Forger. The Darkest Knight beat her, and not just beat her, but tore apart stories across the multiverse in a fight that echoed across all levels of reality. Now, technically, that wasn't Dr. Manhattan himself, but it also wasn't the full extent of Manhattan's power. The Darkest Knight only had a fraction of Manhattan's true energy, and even with just that, he was operating on a scale far beyond anything we've seen from Franklin Richards. So, here's the deal. Franklin Richards has the potential to one day surpass Dr. Manhattan. He's got the imagination, the cosmic standing, the raw energy, and the narrative space to go beyond. But as of right now, there's really no doubt in my mind, Dr. Manhattan is the more powerful of the two. Dr. Manhattan wins.